如果你愿意的话，也可以偶尔放我出来，喝完酒，我保证，我就喝完酒。如果你不相信，你可以叫大班内帮。
不对。
Okay, and now that I am, I think, finally into the focused enough mindset of detective, after all the scatteredness of this day, I am going to move on to the reaction of episode 6 and possibly episode 7, depending how long this takes for episode 6. I don't think quite as much happens. Ow. I've been poking out my shoulder so often I think I've bruised it with my own fingers on top of everything else. So, moving on to the reaction of episode 6 and possibly 7. We'll see how long this takes. Because episode 5 took a lot longer because a lot more happened in the first half of that one. Observations about this episode. The rebels of Hangshan clan deserve this. You will get punished if they run away. Is that actually what was said? Because it looks different when I put it in Google Translate. Google Translate took the Hanja and said, Hangshan will be to blame for the chaos of the party. It is only you who have escaped. And it's a very interesting line that Tan himself seems to be remembering. Spoiler, it's also never explained. What it does seem to indicate, though, especially combined with later reveals, is that there really is more that Tan can't remember than just why he's afraid of fire. / I'm guessing more that caused the d.i.d, which is good, because I do know for a fact that d.i.d is not caused by one single traumatic event. The saddest and worst and most hardest part about d.i.d to talk about is the fact that it is caused by repeated childhood trauma at a very young age. From what I've heard, it's like, I don't know, 7 to 9, somewhere in there. But it's like more than one event. Not just one event is going to cause it. There's more than one event. So this whole thing with Hangshan, and if Tan really is like connected to Hangshan, and like, we'll get into more of it later, just to me, this whole what is he thinking? Was Mirror the first altar that was ever created? Or was there more stuff that was happening before that might have actually caused the d.i.d to begin with? These are questions I'd like to have answered, and the show doesn't ever answer them. The third observation, this tiny instance, I also find interesting because Tan is pulling out his meds before Mirror shows up. Given what Mirror says about this case bringing up Hangshan and Tan going Hangshan and like what, it seems to me like Tan doesn't remember that he has connections, or at least that he doesn't remember how deep his connections are to Hangshan clan. It's like he's pulling out the meds to shut up that whole line that we just heard about Hangshan. He's like, I'm getting a headache, and I'm hearing something, and he's pulling out the meds, and it's not even Mirror that's making him pull the meds out at this point. Tan wants his memories back, doesn't he? And yet, is it just habit to pull his medications out as soon as he starts getting a headache, and that's why he pulled them out without even thinking of why he's pulling them out? Because like I say, like, he's like, but it's like he doesn't even notice what he's thinking about, and he's pulling the meds out to stop it. And I'm like, dude, I thought you wanted your memories back. What are you doing? So he's pulling his meds out despite wanting his memory back, or is this just proving how scared he is to recall the trauma that caused an altar to split in the first place? I'm gonna guess it's probably more to do with that. Like, for one thing, he's completely distracted and maybe not even considering what it is he's thinking about at the moment. And it's probably also to do with the fear of not wanting to face these traumatic events from his past, which is completely understandable. But it's just interesting, this teeny little snippet of stuff before Mirror even shows up. It's quite interesting the way they showed that to me. Quite intriguing and quite interesting, and more of, responses. Whether you do or don't have d.i.d, just responses to things in your past, even when you want to remember stuff because you want to know what's going on, but you were clearly very afraid of it. And how complicated that makes your reaction to it. Number 4, after this conversation, we see proof something is starting to slip, because Tan almost walks away without taking his medication. And I find it really funny that Mirror alerts him to this. Here again, if Mirror is supposed to be stronger than Tan, which is what, like, Tan and the priest were both saying that Mirror is, like, stronger, or he seems to be stronger, and that's why Tan needs the medications, even if it's just a placebo effect to make him feel like he's stronger, whatever the cause, they're implying that Mirror is stronger, or at least they think he's stronger. So if Tan even just thinks that Mirror is stronger, either Mirror is not stronger, or there's something more to Mirror's character, because here again, why did he tell him that he didn't take the medication? Why did he... I'm pretty sure part of it is just because he's trying to build up a trust with Mirror. Mirror is trying to build up a trust with Tan so that he can take over the body. So I know it's part of the trap, and he's just, I'm helping you out so you can trust me. So come on, because I'm helping you out, right? I'm sure that's what the show is trying to say, and I'm sure that is actually part of it too. But I just find it funny that if the medication is wearing off, he hasn't taken it, why doesn't Mirror himself just come out here? What I specifically liked about this episode is the fighting scene. Proving that both Tan and Jajan know how to fight. Also, indicating that Jajan might be better than Tan. I mean, she said earlier that he's just a weak little policeman that doesn't know how to fight, and she must have studied some kind of fighting somewhere or something, because she's better than him. But it's not like she's overpowering and, trampling down the weak old man, because, Tan can fight, too. I love the teamwork. And then, in comes Dapan to finish it all off, and all around, just the threesome of this team being so cool. I love it. The action and the cool, unity in their whole, the synchronization of it all. What I also specifically liked is Tan's reaction to Dapan's declaration of falling in love. Even though I think it's really stupid that he fell for Chunting that fast. Seriously, Tan, seriously, these two are so cute. They're literally so cute. Tan's like, you weirdo, but tell me more. It's just so cute. I love it. These two. What I specifically didn't like, on that high note to low note, maybe I should have put what I didn't like before what I did like. What I didn't like, Chunting's intro. I'm sorry, but that was way too dramatic. Literally nobody else has an intro as dramatic as her. Why? They do that too often in these dramas. Literally every man is falling for her. And I must believe that she's so pretty and so feminine and so whatever that it's deserved. No proof. I'm just supposed to believe it because they say so. She comes out and starts dancing, and it's like she's hypnotizing all the men. Okay, this is the first time that Cheng Min's seen her in 7 years, so of course he's going to be a little like that. But then it also has these two other guys that are there, literally buying time with her and all of this stuff. And I'm like, going back to that whole how music manipulates you, there's other ways for shows to manipulate you too. And it's like, you just spend so much time on everything else, because clearly everything else is more important, that you just have to tell me this is what I'm supposed to believe about her, rather than letting me decide that that's what I want to believe about her. Don't like it. Number 2 that I don't like specifically about this show, again, is Chunting. She's already the type of female character I end up not being able to stand. Such a timid girl. Such a polite, what's that word, and all this stuff, that everyone wants to protect her, and yet she's rebelliously putting herself in danger's way because she's supposedly so courageous, etc., while being bent on finding the truth that comes above anything and everything else, including her own safety and the safety of people around her. She stubbornly declares, I can take care of myself. No, girl, clearly you can't. And on the flip side, too, is also the way the guys treat her. Because they treat her like she's kid glove, and she just has to stay home, and she just has to completely rely on them. And that's not right either. I'm not saying she's supposed to do that either. I'm just saying if she's going to claim that she can take care of herself, then maybe she should learn how to take care of herself. That is a big difference between her and Jajan. Jajan says, I know how to take care of myself, and she knows how to take care of herself. Chunting says, I can take care of myself. She clearly cannot take care of herself. I don't want to just be an ornament on the wall. I have stuff that I need to do, and nobody wants to help me with it, so I'm just going to do it myself. The problem is, she doesn't do it intelligently. She puts herself in dangerous way constantly, and the guy just doesn't want her to do it, so he just doesn't help her, and he's like, no, just go to the side, and I'll take care of it, but he never really takes care of it. Moving on to what I had questions about this episode. Why is Tan so obstinately against Mirror? He hesitated before taking the medications, which I appreciated. But there's a whole chunk of the story it isn't telling us, i.e. the missing 10 years, and in fact, even before that. So were these events and things in there, are those what specifically made them so opposed to each other? Or are they trying to claim that what they shows us is enough to be specifically opposed to each other? Because I'm like, that doesn't seem like enough to me. Tan's dislike is mainly centered around jealousy for Jajan, but it's not only because of that. He really, really doesn't like the idea of getting any help from Mir. And it must run deeper, as in the thought of sharing a body with someone else? Are these the only things, or is it more, at least in part, because Mir is so antagonistic? Those missing years, how much interaction have they really had? Did Mir bug him during those 2 cases that lifted Tan to being the first-rank detective, for instance? Is him becoming a first-rank detective perhaps what prompted Mir into being more frequently vocal? Or is it only like the beginning of the show and Jajan coming back from being overseas? Is that what brought Mir back? Because now, like making him more want to be in the front because now Jajan's coming back and all this stuff. Is that what brought him back to being the front? Was he not present for the High River and for the dismemberment case? There's just so much they don't tell you, and I want to know. I want to understand. I told you it bothers me when it doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense because there's so much missing information. Moving on to episode 7. A quick comment. I saw someone else's comment raging against Jajan, and one of the things about her that made this commenter mad was her jealousy against other women around Tan, which I'm assuming is a reference to this scene here, when she found Chunting with Tan in his room. Because I can't think of any other time when she was jealous of any other girls. And so if this is where that commenter was pointing to, I actually have to disagree with being angry at her. Because while I see why it would be annoying, this commenter took Jajan to be a spoiled brat that's hormonal and controlling and etc. And we'll get to my rage against Jajan later. Overall, like, I see why this commenter says that about her, is that she's a spoiled brat and all the rest of that stuff, because there is a lot about her that, like, it's true. However, she actually has good reason to be jealous here. So just this jealousy toward other girls being around Tan, yeah, like, quite often when that comes into a show, I get really irritated at that too. But for once, I actually disagree with being angry at her, because to me, she actually has a very good reason for being jealous here. See, all Jajan knows about Chunting is the same thing we the viewer have seen and heard about her. That is, that she is irresistible, that every man, single or taken, okay, the taken is in the scene after this, but every man, whether they're single or whether they're taken, unavoidably seems to fall for her if they spend enough time within the line of sight. So well knowing that, and having the whole history of struggles between Jajan and Tan, I have to ask, wouldn't you react the same way? 'Cause I probably would. If I was already, like, if I'm in love with a guy, Jajan is in love with Tan, and she is struggling, and then she walks in and finds Chunting with him, and all she knows about Chunting is that Chunting is, like, irresistible, even if the guys want to resist at first. It's like they can't help falling in love with her because she's so pretty and all of this stuff. So she walks in and sees Tan with Chunting and kicks Chunting out. I actually can't blame her for that. So, what I specifically liked about this episode. 1, how calmly and gently Tan talks with Jajan. As already seen in previous episodes, he helps calm the situation down, if anything, and then quietly talks directly to Jajan instead of openly confronting her in front of everyone. He asks questions. He roots around for the causes. He doesn't just jump all over her with anger or judgment. And 2 is her response. While she gets fired up, she loves and respects Tan so much that even while her temper flares, she calms back down and listens to him. This is one of the things I said about their relationship and why I love it. Tan makes the comment later on that he is so patient and he tries so hard to explain and work out what's happening with Jajan specifically because it's Jajan and because he cares so much about her. And that is a key factor when it comes to building a relationship with someone and loving someone. When you love someone and when you want to keep them in your lives and be like building a relationship with them that lasts, you will want to communicate with them. You will want to dig around and find the roots. You will want to help correct when they're going off the rails in a wrong direction or something. Like, in a way, okay, sometimes maybe he goes a little too far. Maybe, like, there's things about her that he's trying to change that he shouldn't be trying to change. I'm not sure if you could go into all of that, and that would make the conversation a lot longer. But the thing is, he's patient, and he tries to be so gentle and so loving and so kind, even when she really is going too far. And it's because he loves her so much, and he's trying to be respectful towards her, and he's trying to help her grow. That's one of the keys. He's trying to help her grow because he loves her and he wants her to grow. When you love someone, you want them to grow. You want them to mature. You want them to be all that they can be. You don't want them to be stuck being childish and ignorant and all of the rest of that stuff. And this is more proof of her respect for him, that she's willing to listen to this, that she's not just stubbornly going, yeah, well, get over it. I don't want to be like a wallflower, pretty trophy type like Chunting. I want to be like free and like my own kind of woman. Like, this also goes back to the whole culture that they're in and the whole time period culture that they're in, because she's affected by the foreigners. She's all brazen and she's all out there dressed up and following around her fiance, and the scandalous of this all. Like, this comes up more than once in the show, and that's a thing too, but it's just the depth to the relationship they have and the understanding and respect and all of that they have. I love it within their relationship. I love it. So moving on to the second thing that I really specifically liked is the fact that right after Tan and Jajan and Dapan talk, and he points out the valid mistakes she's making. Yes, he does do things for you. They're just more subtle than your temperament. Although, see my dislikes for the rest of that comment. The third thing I specifically like about this one is the corrections that Chunting installs in Jajan. Like, that's one thing, like I said, Chunting, there's some good things that she says, and this is one of them. You're just following him around and forcing him to marry you. How's that, love? And then she gives that good idea that, sadly, I knew Jajan would do that. I'm like, oh, no, she's going to take this the wrong way, and, well, yeah, at least she's trying. Moving on to specifically what I didn't like about this episode. One, I know where it's coming from, a build-up, but for her to lump his very valid objection to police officers breaking the law in with every other disapproving of me thing he's done or said so far is, girl, he's far more in the right here than she is. Like, far more. Again, I know that Jajan is reacting to general mood and his avoidance, etc. I said he's an avoider, and he's an avoider. He uses every excuse under the sun to avoid her because he doesn't want to face the real issue. However, a lot of Tan's disapproval of Jajan is of things she really is doing wrong, or is pushing on him without his consent. I'm positive she's putting the whole marriage thing into this whole thing here, and seriously, Jajan never talked with Tan about that before she went and used the power of her parents to back him into a corner. Yet she wonders why he's objecting. That is all on you, girl. That is all on you. That is not on him. That is the absolute, not his fault. So, I don't like that. I don't like that she's lumping the several different things that are not the same into one category. And I really don't like it when he's got a very valid point of, like, police officers should not be breaking the law in order to uphold the law. That is just messed up. There is either something wrong with your law or something wrong somewhere else if you have to be breaking the law in order to keep the law. Number 2 thing that I specifically disliked, Dapan goes too far in the other direction, in my opinion. Relating back to what I said there, where he points out the valid mistakes that Jajan is making, but then he goes too far in the other direction. I know this is the year 1911 thing, and I know it's a cultural thing too, claiming that Chunting is the perfect example of how girls should be. But, 1, Dapan does not know her for the love of sanity. And 2, that's an extreme stereotype that makes me mad. True, Jajan has a temper. True, she lets it go off the handle. We have already seen instances of that. But having a temper is not what defines you as a bad woman versus a good woman. Seriously. She is allowed to be, like, out there and doing things. She does not have to be a pretty wallflower trophy to be a woman. Seriously. Cultural differences, time period differences. It's not just her temper, it's her foreign attitude. I know. So whatever. I'll bite my tongue on the rest of it. But I didn't like the Japan. Stop it. And apparently I didn't have any questions about that episode. So, that is the end of episode 6 and episode 7. Some of these episodes, as you can see, we're moving a lot quicker than other ones. Which is a good thing because this thing is 26 episodes long, so I really do need to keep booking it. But that is already 24 minutes before editing, so I will stop this one here. Thank you for watching. Any comments are welcome. Just be polite if you disagree. That's all I'm asking, is please be polite. Bye, thanks for watching.